Chapter 112, The Instinct to Reject Weakness. The fight peaked with unimaginable severity. The two men face each other, trading fists from straight on. Hard bones batter into flesh, muscles bursting, blood dripping. There come the wails, the unpleasant heaving of frothy respiration, the wretchedness of the sloppy fistfight as it burns into the eyes of the observer. Amelia, Subaru. Standing before the tomb's entrance, the onlooking Amelia puts her hand to her chest. Her eyes host confusion, her fingers waver in search of something to cling to. The perpetually reliable presence at her chest and their warmth, aware as she is of its absence, still binds her heart. Subaru had said things to her inside the tomb. Subaru asserted that he loved her, cherished her, and so he believed in her. Indeed, a part of her did feel saved by these words. But it also came with compounding anxiety. Her true memories were being resurrected alongside the ticking of the seconds. She had believed that false memories were where she began, and with that belief, reached this point. Once her beginnings, her trigger for getting this far, changed, just how would it change her? Her truest feelings conflict with each other in argument, unease rooted deep within Amelia. Subaru had shouted that even if Amelia changes, his love for her will remain unchanged. This boy who had hurt and suffered for her, and attempted to fight to the end for her, she had not a speck of doubt about his feelings. He had proved them continuously. What she can't trust is her own self. She walked along a path which had its foundations set in an incorrect beginning, and although she thought she had the end of this road in sight, she stopped. She wondered whether she might be walking in the wrong direction, hesitating despite seeing the end. Her feet have stopped moving. Would she be permitted to start walking again? Would the path she walks be a new road, or the same road she walks now? Amelia, she wanders within the labyrinth of unanswerable, impenetrable questions. Even now, unable to speak up, and aware that she lacks any right to stop them, Amelia watches the two men fight. A scream, and to great heights, the blood spatters. Cutting through the air, the swing of a fist. Knuckles come looming for his face at depressingly slow velocity. TCH. No need for an overblown dodge. He tilts his head in the barest minimum, evading the fist without sustaining even a graze. His opponent's stance disintegrates due to that big swing, and they're into the adversary's undefended stomach. He jabs his knee to gouge their bowels. His knee feels their rib bones and flimsy muscles, the attack transmitting to the depths of their gut. Their mouth, already multiple times subject to expelling fluids, vomits up blood unrelenting. August, they hold their stomach, their movements faltering, their visage atrocious. He pounds his uplifted arms into their slouched back, following from his frontal attack, to now scramble their innards from behind. They had managed to withstand the kick, but they fail to endure the strike from behind and easily collapse. He kicks them to rotate their fallen body upwards, then follows up his attack by driving his toes into their left flank. Their screams peal. Their breathing heaves with vomit and blood. His fists, his knee, his toes. With every strike the sensation of their skin, of their flesh paring away, rebounds to him. Usually that would jubilate him, but presently he only felt incredible discomfort. These actions repeated over and over and over and over, and what in the world was the point of it? Enough's goddamn enough, fucking give up already. He casts jeers on his coughing, unsightly opponent as they spit up blood. He is failing to take their consciousness. He can strike their head, kick their stomach, but they quite detestably will not concede it. Especially detestable when is attempting to make them understand the disparity in strength between them. Garfield, you're sure a fucking brainless bastard, oi. You ain't got a hint of a chance of win neen. Your back's slouched. Your swings re.lssly big. Your balances wobbling everywhere, a goddamn tragedy. Subaru, my bad. Garfield, you're fucking shitpile. Do you know what it fucking feels like to have entertained this pointless, pig-headed game of yours? Fucking fuck off, fuck off. Garfield spits his insults at Subaru, who attempts with laborious breaths to upright himself. Subaru's hands contact the ground as he struggles to push himself up. Recipient to punches, his face is swollen, and his nosebleed coats the lower portion of his visage with red. Some of his teeth surely must be broken or missing. His guts, his ribs, wouldn't be strange for some of them to be busted. With the violent pain ravaging his body, he should not be able to even remain conscious. And yet, Garfield, what's damn point? Didn't you challenge me cause you thought you had hopes v win neen? All you're fucking doing is showing off how goddamn ragged and beaten you're, or I can't even watch it. Take a fucking nap. Subaru, go. Obstinacy, stubbornness, those words cannot describe the tenacity Garfield senses as he once again brutalizes Subaru. He sweeps Subaru's legs out from under him, drives his foot into Subaru's flank when he collapses. Blood spews from Subaru's mouth as Garfield kicks his tumbling form skyward, then drives his elbow into his suspended frame to shunt him back to the ground. He ricochets off the earth, the hard ground beating his body, before he comes to lie spread out on the floor. His eyes peel wide, he exhales an airy breath, and this time for sure lies motionless. Finally knocked him unconscious. Garfield gives a long sigh. Subaru, fuck Ryu, looking like it's over. Garfield, HK. Garfield's shoulders heave with his ragged breaths, when the voice he hears from below prompts his eyes to shoot open in shock. The man he surely had knocked unconscious somehow, wavering, manages to stand. Garfield, don't goddamn joke. Subaru, yeah, this no joke here. With how beaten up I can't think of a single funny anecdote. Garfield, that ain't what I'm. Subaru, ha. Exhibiting a nightmarish doggedness, Subaru spits a sharp breath and swings his fist. Naturally, no matter how desperate the punch is, from Garfield's perspective it's equivalent to being assaulted by a child. His hand easily catches and diverts the oncoming fist, and as compensation, he drives the heel of his palm into Subaru's guts. The strike drills into a space between his organs, rippling to impact his internal fluids. His already vacant stomach constricts, and up flows blood and yellowy bile. Subaru, gug, bub. Garfield, same thing. No matter how many times you try, how many fucking times do. Subaru holds his stomach and crumbles on the spot as Garfield once again urges him to surrender. He cannot bear to watch the disgusting atrocity of it. Garfield averts his gaze, clicking his tongue. Garfield. And past his face roars Subaru's fist. Garfield, WH. Subaru, Garfield, you fuck. Who gave you permission to just ditch me? Left arm forward, right arm back. Seeing Subaru readied in combat stance, his will to fight not abolished in the least, Garfield feels something near a shiver. He doesn't consider Subaru a threat for even a moment. Anyone could tell that Subaru was making empty threats, the strength gap between him and Garfield too great for any amount of struggling to compensate. He could keep sending Garfield these reckless punches, but be it 1,000 times, or 1,000,000 times, the ironclad strength gap meant Garfield would simply dodge every attempt. All of Subaru's struggling, every single moment of it, was futile. No matter how many times Garfield punched, kicked, threw him, no matter how much pain he sustained, his overstressed body would never touch Garfield. Garfield, why fucker, stop shitting around. Subaru, ha. He was facing an opponent who could not win, but nevertheless lofted stubbornness alone as his weapon. His spirit alone would not fold, his feelings alone would not falter. Perhaps that mentality ought to be called strength, a strength unbound by the flesh. Seeing him stand up after falling again and again perhaps did jolt Garfield's heart to some degree. But, if he was hoping that this display would make Garfield change his mind, that constituted an insult beyond parallel. His spirit alone would not fold, would not bend. These concepts possessed what point exactly? Garfield, do you really fucking think that if you keep being bullheaded, even knowing you won't win, my amazing self's eventually gonna stay my fists? Really fucking think that my amazing self's gonna get sick v punchin' and kickin' your, acknowledge your spirit and stand down, that I'm gonna lose by ceding to emotions, is that what you're trying to fucking say? Subaru, Garfield, don't fucking joke. This fight between me and you ain't any fucking game. You beat them down, you get beat down. There ain't any other endings to this. He stomps the ground. The power of his EARTHSOUL blessing fills him, the earth supplying his body with overflowing vitality. Compared to when he had finished fighting Ram and Otto in the forest, and so pushed his ruined body to venture here, his flesh is in better condition. This not even a fistfight with Subaru was not exacerbating his fatigue, in fact he may as well be sitting in tree shade and having a pleasant reprieve. And this minuscule influence of Subaru's is meant to sway Garfield's heart just goddamn how? Garfield, you goddamn said it, didn't you? That you're gonna teach my amazing self that I'm weak, that's what you goddamn said. Well fuck is this, then? The fuck is weak. The fuckery you teachin'. The one who ain't got strength and gettin' forced into surrender, the brainless idiot here is goddamn you. Garfield remembers every syllable of Subaru's pre-battle declaration. It was utter buffoonery. Entirely farcical. Every inch of this man defined the word fraudulent. Garfield, and that guy and Ram too. Both them who battled me at least had guts to try and win. And that's why I fought them back with everything I had. They worked their brains comin' up with plans, compensatin' for where they lacked by usin' their smarts. Those two had guts enough for me to acknowledge them. But what about you? While he did not know the exact details of how it worked, Otto had used his blessing to get the forest on his side and cornered Garfield. His methods of herding Garfield into that final blast of incredible magic illustrated that he had utilized all his vitality and intellect, his fighting spirit so great that Garfield would gladly commend it as the apex of what the weak could do. Ram's offensive, which began with her surprise attack, although conferring him with an agony equivalent to betrayal, was indeed a fight perfectly befitting of Ram. Merciless, no punches pulled, a battle between persons of genuine strength. Both had made their most desperate efforts while fighting Garfield, and fully intended to steal victory. Their methods deserved esteem. So much so that Garfield had to recognize them as foes, and yet glorious. Garfield, compared to them, there ain't any way to be more obscene. Why get done in and you still stand up, and so fucking what? No matter how much you're beaten, your spirit won't yield, and fucking what does that say? Even sayin' your hopes win neen zilch, you ain't ever fleen the fight, what's so fucking commendable? Subaru, Garfield, you think I'm impressed? That you're blood-soaked, wobbly-legged, can't even open your fucking eyes right, and you're still standin' up thing, gonna stir my feelin's and I'm gonna stand down. I'm gonna churn you goddamn mincemeat. What fucking idiots do you want to make of me, and of people who acted for your sake? The greatest indignation Garfield has ever felt in his life blazes within his chest. The fight has been defiled. He has been insulted. And not only that, but this man's methods were attempting to pollute the nobility, the resolute will, of those whose fights Garfield had acknowledged. Garfield, take a fucking nap. Pull the fuck out. You fucking disgusting, miserable pile of shit. Your best answer is to accept your VE lost and curl up T-nap in your cot, you halfwit. Subaru. Still in his fighting stance, Subaru bathes in Garfield's lines and lines of curses. His head wavers unsteadily, his eyes near swollen shut, but somehow managing to capture Garfield. His will to fight was not waning, which precisely made his filthiness an eyesore. If all these words, these blows, these punches were not leading his spirit to bend, then what did he have to do to break him? If pain will not achieve it, then only one solution remains. Garfield, how about you try goddamn telling him, huh? Turning around, Garfield calls out to Amelia, observing the fight from the tomb's entrance. Her shoulders tremble minutely as the conversation is suddenly aimed at her. The display of weakness makes Garfield click his tongue in irritation. Garfield, you can't bear to fucking watch, now you goddamn tell him that. He ain't fucking listenin' when I say it. Have girl he loves tell him he looks disgustin' and lame, that his efforts ain't achievin' nothin', that he's benign shit. Amelia, Garfield, what? You're sayin' why can't he fucking do it? Does it look to you he still has any hope v winning? Or do you like watching this? You watch the guy who loves you get torn up and broken down for your sake, and does that delude you into feeling you're loved, fucking really oi. Amelia, HK. Amelia freezes rigid, her eyes wide open, as the spite showers upon her. Garfield's merciless statements thrust daggers into onlooking Amelia. If Garfield's fists will not stop Subaru, then Amelia's words are the only option. His body would be broken by Garfield, his heart would be broken by Amelia, and so being even Subaru would surely yield. Over the course of watching the fight, Amelia's face twisted multiple times in pain as she witnessed Subaru be beaten. Unlike Subaru with his mysterious resolve, Amelia's heart has not steeled itself for anything yet. She is still the same girl who lost the trial and sobbed wailing afterwards. Garfield had no great intention to lambaste her for that. To be overwhelmed by the trial, by your past, was natural. Who on earth could negate the memory of their greatest regret? The concept that you could overcome your past, your regrets, was utter bullshit. Subaru had mixed up what were realistic ideals and what were unattainable fantasies, a madman. This boy persistently standing before him chased entirely after fantasies, and demanded that others do the same thing. He was legitimately insane. He was the same breed as Roswell, an imbecile whose vision encompassed one thing and nothing more. Garfield. Fucking stop him, and end this. Both me and you. We're dancing to th tune of that witch's bullshit. And that's all that's goddamn happening. Amelia's back straightens as if struck by lightning, her eyes shooting open. Her captivating eyes are damp with tears as she looks at Subaru. Her lips quiver, Garfield's gaze still fixed on her, as she moves to call Subaru to stop. Everything will be over then. But Subaru, Amelia. Before she can speak, Subaru is the one to call. She closes her mouth as she listens intently to Subaru's faint voice. Frantic, so as not to miss whatever he may say to her. To her, Subaru states merely one, single thing. Subaru, watch me. Nothing more. Spoken in frail voice, practically whispered to himself. But Amelia hears it, looks up in astonishment, and after several seconds of hesitation Amelia, puts her hand to her chest and nods. Garfield. Ha! Faced with their exchange and entirely uncomprehending, Garfield shouts in confusion. His eyes widen in fury, only for Subaru to jab at him his finger. Subaru, so you've been going on griping for a while now, but you got it wrong, Garfield. Garfield, fuck? Subaru, maybe to you, I look like an idiot putting in there all despite having no chance of winning, but I'm not joking around. I've learned crazy goddamn well when it comes to knowingly getting into fights I can't win after suffering pain thanks to you. Never doing it again. Subaru's face is a swollen mess, yet it still manages to twist into a scowl. This event that Subaru is referring to is nothing that Garfield could know, but apparently it relates to some overwhelmingly detested memory of his. But even pitted against that sentiment, there is something he said which Garfield must not overlook. Garfield, fucking ridiculous. It ain't even ideals or fantasy anymore, you're straight out not seeing what's there. Why stop challenging opponents, why can't he beat? Then hell's this situation, boy. Fuck is this situation? Subaru, isn't it obvious, stupid? I still haven't abandoned the fight for even a moment. Perhaps his consciousness compounds in clarity as he speaks, for strength begins to return to Subaru's voice as he makes his assertion. This baseless vitality of his seals Garfield's throat mute with how it enrages him. Subaru, long as I can still stand, I haven't abandoned the fight. And the point where I stop standing back up only happens once I'm dead. Garfield. Subaru, and with how you chicken out during the decisive moments, you can't kill me. Meaning you can't stop me. It might only be bit by bit, but I'm inching toward my win. My victory is definite. Garfield, why fucking imbecile? This ain't a thing f me being able not able to kill you. How the fuck? With what struggle? Are you fucking possibly going to beat me? When wounded head to toe and as ragged as an old dish rag, any amount of words ring hollow. Subaru's statements equate to nothing more than extravagant prate. You can't stop me unless you kill me was merely him expressing his volition. And assuming the claim was legitimate, he was then meaning to state that unless killed he could keep fighting, and eventually manage to land a fatal blow on Garfield? That would not occur, and would need incredible quantities of time and miracles to ever happen. Garfield, my amazing self breaks your limbs, and then you can't do nothing and it's over. Whether you're conscious, whether you won or win. D have nothing to do with it. Garfield roars in furious rage. His feet siphon vitality from the ground, his once fatigued body regaining strength halfway to his usual. This constituted more than enough power for mutilating Natsuki Subaru. He stomps off the earth, goes flying for Subaru. Faced with Garfield's approach, Subaru jabs out his fist as if happy about this turn of events. It's moronic. Slow. Unequivocally insufficient. He easily dodges it, strikes him in the abdomen. Pistons his knee into his chin, grabs him as he recoils and throws him hurtling to the ground. He drives his heel into his fallen form, wresting out 2-3 screams of agony. A merciless series of attacks. And with this Subaru, it's over, you think? Garfield. Pisshead, what the fuck is this? Supposedly sustaining even more grievous bodily wounds, Subaru stands up. Witnessing it, an unknown, arcane feeling begins to mantle Garfield's heart. He couldn't defeat him? He couldn't win? No, those were not where his anxiety lay. It was in the suspicion that maybe, truly, exactly as this man stated, merely accumulation of physical damage would not manage to stop him. Garfield, what fuck is point in risking your life for this? Say you somehow managed to beat my amazing self. Do you really think that Halfwitch can beat the trial? You seriously think that's case here, huh? Subaru. Garfield, like those miracles could happen. Like that convenient shit could happen. 1,000,000 to 1, billion to 1 chance, saying you beat my amazing self, doing that ain't gonna change anything about that woman. And it's same for anyone. When you have a messed up, hopeless past, when you see how your regrets stewed, you can't do goddamn anything about it. Why ain't you understanding this? Subaru, you're the one who should be hearing that question. Garfield. It lacks in enough momentum to be a burst of outrage, possesses too much emotion to be an appeal. The cracks skirting though Garfield's logic-devoid words fracture further beneath Natsuki Subaru's yell. Subaru, stop goddamn going off deciding everything on your own, Garfield. Garfield, fuck you. Subaru, stop goddamn going off deciding what Emilia's limits are. She isn't that weak. Distant, standing before the tomb, Emilia swallows her breath. Subaru, stop goddamn going off, deciding what my limits are. No one tells me to fold, or to abandon everything and cower. My surrender is never happening. Spitting blood, the glint in Subaru's eyes grows stronger. And, Subaru, fucker, don't goddamn go off giving up on yourself. You can do goddamn more. More's out there for you. You were a damn kid, you weren't even fully grown yet. Fucking clinging to an intractable idea you came up with when you didn't even have pubic hair. Subaru straight out informs Garfield that the belief he stubbornly held, the creed which had kept his heart bound to sanctuary, is imbecilic. Garfield immediately opens his mouth to reply. But something feels to have stabbed into his chest, keeping any speech from exiting his throat. He cannot say anything. Nothing is coming out. His head blazes white. It isn't that he thinks Subaru correct. There is no possible way Garfield could be wrong. The self he started being after he realized he was wrong was not wrong. He must not be wrong. And so this man claiming that Garfield was wrong, must not be permitted to be here. Garfield, got it. Subaru. Garfield, I need to stop you. I ain't got any idea what you're saying. But it's making me feel sick. And so, I'm stopping you. He must stop him. And the way to stop him is surely the exact way the man had previously stated. So long as he still breathes, this man cannot be stopped. Garfield, then. I'll kill you. Subaru, can you? Garfield, fuck off. The method to do it was always right here. If he will not stop unless killed, Garfield would now kill and stop him assuredly. Now, here, he would make the choice. Make the choice to entrust himself to the abhorrent, vile blood of the beast sleeping inside him. Garfield, sigma 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 sigma, he holds himself, all the blood in his body seething with incendiary heat. The inferno feels to superheat his every exhale with red. His cells squirm, his muscles swell, his mass explodes in size. His limbs grow thick as logs, his abdomen bloating to snap off his loincloth. Golden fur sprouts across his hole as his sharp fangs mature instantly into elongate sabers. His face protrudes into a snout, the world-changing color alongside the slitting of his pupils. His thoughts solder. The mind of the once-present Garfield Tinsel drowns. The exhilaration of transformation, and the feeling of his bestial instincts driving out his rationality. Once everything's done and he returns, what remains before him will be ravaged chunks of scattered gore. The final visage of Natsuki Subaru. He had not been able to stop him short of doing this. He had neither intent to lament, nor to repent for that. People who lacked strength were bad. The weak could proffer nothing. All there was to it. His consciousness was fading. His bestial instincts screech in jubilation, jaws opening to devour their miserable prey. The dim-witted animal's vision drowns beneath an eruption of ink-black fog.